High in the Black Hills of South Dakota, a cluster of slender granite towers rises straight out of the pine forest, sharp as the spires of a great stone cathedral. They have stood here for uncounted ages, pale needles of ancient rock catching the morning light far above the trees. Reached by a well-loved route through the forest, they are among the most striking rock formations in all the Black Hills. Welcome to the Cathedral Spires. We are in Custer State Park, in the heart of the Black Hills of South Dakota. Here the land rises into a high, cool country of granite and ponderosa pine, and among it stands this cluster of soaring spires, part of the region's famous needles. It is some of the most beautiful terrain in the Black Hills, a landscape of stone towers, forest, and quiet high places. From the forest below, the route climbs steadily toward the spires, winding among great rounded boulders and tall pines. With every rise, the granite towers grow nearer and taller until they fill the sky ahead. It is a much-loved way into the high rocks, leading from the shade of the woods up into the open world of stone. Above us, the pale needles beckon, closer with every turn. The rock of these spires is astonishingly old. More than 1 billion years ago, deep beneath the surface of the earth, molten magma cooled slowly in the dark and hardened into coarse, pale granite. For ages it lay buried far underground, locked away beneath layers of other rock, long before these hills or their forests existed. Every spire before us is a piece of that ancient, deep-born stone, finally brought up into the light. So how did buried granite become a forest of needles? Over immense spans of time, wind and water and frost wore away the softer rock that once lay above, until the hard granite stood exposed to the sky. Then the same patient weathering went to work along the cracks and joints in the stone, widening them grain by grain, carving the solid rock into tall, thin spires and needles. What stands before us is the slow sculpture of many millions of years. Near the top, the route brings us in among the towering spires themselves. All around rise smooth walls and slender pinnacles of granite, close enough to touch, soaring far overhead into the blue. Here in their shadow the scale is overwhelming, a hidden chamber of stone deep in the hills. To come among these great needles is to feel very small beneath something vast and still. These spires are part of a wider wonder known as the Needles, a maze of granite pinnacles scattered across this corner of the Black Hills. Slender and steep, they rise in clusters from the forest like the towers and turrets of some immense natural fortress. The cathedral spires are among the tallest and most graceful of them all, a gathering of stone needles reaching for the sky. From high among the rocks, the whole country opens out below. Ridge after forested ridge rolls away into the distance, dark green with pine and broken by pale outcrops of granite. Far off, the hills fade softly into blue, Before us lies a sweeping view of the Black Hills, seen from the feet of the spires, wide and quiet and seemingly endless. This is high, cool country, a world of ponderosa pine. The tall trees cloak the slopes and gather in the hollows between the rocks, their scent warm in the sun. It was these dark forests that gave the Black Hills their name, for from a distance the pine-covered slopes look almost black. Among the granite, the pines soften the stone and fill the air with the hush of the high country. On the steepest crags, a surprising resident makes its home. Mountain goats, brought to the Black Hills long ago, pick their way with astonishing ease across the sheer granite. White against the pale rock, they climb ledges no other large animal would dare, at home on the narrowest of footholds. To glimpse one balanced high on a spire is to see the wild spirit of these rocks made flesh. Not far from the spires, a famous road threads through this stone country. The Needles Highway winds between the pinnacles and even passes through narrow tunnels blasted in the granite, so close that the rock seems to lean in on either side. It was built to let travelers wander among these formations, and it remains one of the most beautiful drives in the land, a ribbon of road lost among the needles. Amid all this soaring stone, there are moments of perfect stillness. In a quiet pool below the rocks, the spires and the pines stand mirrored on the water, the whole towering scene held upside down in a sheet of glass. Not a ripple stirs. Here the high country seems to pause and breathe, and the ancient granite gazes at its own reflection in the calm. These hills are far more than beautiful stone. To the Dakota people, the Black Hills are Paha Sapa, a sacred place at the very center of their world, holy ground woven into story and ceremony across countless generations. Long before any road or trail, these granite towers rose above a land held sacred. To stand among the spires is to stand in a place that has been revered for a very, very long time. Taken all together, this is some of the most beautiful terrain in the Black Hills. Granite spires and rolling pine forest, hidden pools and sweeping views, high crags where goats climb and old stone shaped by time beyond imagining. Few places gather so much wonder into one small stretch of country. Here the hills reveal the very best of themselves. At last it is time to turn back down. The route falls away from the high rocks and back into the cool shade of the pines, the great spires slowly sinking behind the trees. One last time they rise above us, pale and silent against the sky, before the forest closes softly around. Behind us, as they have for 1 billion years, the cathedral spires stand watch over the hills. soaring granite needles above the forest, mountain goats on the high crags, and the sacred hills spread quiet all around. Thank you for watching. Follow for more interesting people, places, and things we cover on the channel.